Well, a massive search is underway today for suspects in a deadly block party shooting in Baltimore. Gunfire erupted early Sunday morning, killing 2 people and hurting 28 others. Many of the injured are just teenagers. Police identifying 2 victims as an 18-year-old woman and a 20-year-old man. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hylton is following this for us. Antonia, we heard from police and Baltimore's mayor today about this shooting. What are some of the new details you've learned?
Hey, Vicki. Well, this tragedy has people in Baltimore just reeling and eager to hear updates on the manhunt for the people that they believe are responsible for this. And I emphasize that word because initially people were looking for a shooter. They thought maybe one person was responsible. But what we've learned from authorities is that they think that likely this was caused by multiple individuals. How many, we do not know yet, and a motive we do not know yet, at least not publicly at this time. People have speculated about whether there was a conflict or retaliation, or whether this might have just been some of the an example of the kind of random acts of violence that we have seen at times this year, when there have been so many mass shootings, about 340 just up to this point alone today, according to the Gun Violence Archive. And so this community is calling for change at both the local level and national level. They're asking officers, of course, to find the people responsible here, but to also take action on ghost guns or untraceable, unauthorized weapons on the street. Take a listen to the mayor's remarks earlier today.
There were grown adults filming young people with guns who said nothing, who did nothing, who didn't say to the police, hey, I know this teenager's out here at this event with a gun. And we have to have a sense of responsibility to our own community as well.
And Vicki, to put this in greater context, I mentioned we're at about 340 mass shootings this year, but compare that to 2019, so just before the pandemic. In that entire year, there were 417, which means we're on pace for an incredibly violent year. And so there's this desire, of course, locally and nationally for there to be a response here, action taken to address the proliferation of both legal and illegal firearms. And so this community is waiting for more answers now.
A powerful point made by the mayor there about the responsibility of the community, the adults, in the room, so to speak. What about these 2 teenagers that we have now know they were killed during the shooting?
Well, Vicki, we know that one is an 18-year-old girl. The other is a 20-year-old boy. Both incredibly young. The families have not released statements at this time. Our understanding from community members is that they are grieving and waiting a little bit before they come forward and talk. But we know that the 18-year-old girl, that she just graduated from high school. And, these are 2 of of course, the main victims, the 2 people killed that night. But there were many other victims as well whose lives are going to be forever changed. 14 of the 30 people shot that night were children. Just a shocking number. And so, as you can imagine, people on the ground are still somewhat in shock and processing all of this and really trying to come together to support each other.
All right, let's hope they find those shooters soon. Antonia Hylton, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.